Well, we've added another medal to the pile. 1 second. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a new YouTube video. It is Sunday, May 26th, 2024. And it's been a minute. It's been a minute since I've made a YouTube video. I did not put anything out in April, but we are here today to talk about this medal, about this race. As you can see from the title of this video, I ran another half marathon and I PR'd my time. Now, if you're looking for a video that's going to have some race footage, training content, running content in it, this is not that video. This is going to be more of a talking head, podcast style, whatever you want to call it, type video. So sorry to disappoint, but I really want to break down this race, how I trained for it, and then we'll get into why I decided not to document any of it. So first, let's talk about the race itself. So this was the Alter Ego Great Ambassador, what is it? The Alter Ego Great Ambassador Run. This was a virtual run. It was put on by the running hat company Alter Ego Running, which I am an ambassador for. They make running hats, various different styles, colors, everything like that. They're waterproof. They're actually really nice hats. I will leave the link to their site with my discount code down in the description box below if you're in the market for a new running hat. But this was the race that they put on for their ambassadors. So this was a race that you could sign up for, and you could choose the distance you wanted to run. I believe they started as small as like a mile or a 5K, and then it increased all the way up to an ultra, I think you could do. I chose to go the half marathon distance, and the race took place, you had a window for when you could do the race. It took place starting May 17th, which was a Friday, and you had all the way up to Sunday, May 19th to do it. So you had a window of 3 days to run whichever race distance you picked, and then once you were done, you send in your time to be verified and have it count as your finish time. So I chose the half marathon distance, like I said, and I ran it on Saturday, May 18th, 2024. So at the time of filming this video, this was a week ago already. It's crazy how time flies. I signed up for this race. They announced that they were doing this race at the beginning of this year. So in January 2024, I signed up for this race in the middle of my prep for my 20-mile trail race, and knowing that once I finished the 20-mile trail race, I would have a short window until I would have to do my next race. The reason why I chose the half marathon distance is I didn't want to choose something super crazy after just completing my first trail race and my first 20-mile effort. I wanted something that was doable because of the short window of time in between races. And I thought, why not half marathon? I've done a half marathon before. I did my first half marathon in June 2023. So why not revisit the half marathon and try to go for a PR? That is the backstory behind the race, what it is, when it was, why I chose it. Now for this race, I chose to put my training in the hands of the guys at Infinite Coaching. Infinite Coaching, for those who don't know, is a coaching and community brand that was started by 3 amazing gentlemen: Dan Marchese, Greg Jerez and Vin Kennedy, who I met through the Project Endure community. They have branched off now and they formed their own coaching service and community, Infinite. So I was lucky enough to team up with these guys, and they helped me prepare for this half marathon. Now, the half marathon journey for me, it was an 8-week prep. I jumped right into this half marathon training prep right after my 20-mile race was done. I didn't take a break in between. And let me tell you, training for a half marathon when the goal is to PR and improve your speed and your time is crazy. This is the first time that I ever did this, because when I did my first half marathon last year, the goal simply was to finish. I didn't have a specific time that I wanted to finish in last year. It was just to do the race, see if I could do the race, and to finish the race. So I wasn't really focused on time last year. This year, I wanted to come into my second half marathon and I wanted to see if I can do better than I did my first time around. And that is exactly what the guys at Infinite helped me do. We focused, the 8 weeks, we focused on introducing speed work into my running routine, which is again something that I hadn't really dived into on my running journey. I've only been running since November of 2022, so I'm still a relatively new runner, and I didn't really focus a whole lot on speed. But this prep, we dove like headfirst into the speed game, and they also handled my strength training when it came to balancing strength training around my running, to make sure that I'm getting the most bang for my buck in both areas. With the strength training, they focused a lot on single arm or single leg movements, as well as core movements to help build that balance and stability that your body needs to be a runner, because running is a single leg movement. You're only on one leg at a time as you're running, so you really need to make sure that your foundation, or you really need to make sure that you're building yourself a stable base by training single arm, single leg movements. And then speed work was really fun. The first 4 weeks, there was all the speed work was done on a treadmill, and let me tell you, that was super hard. I am not the biggest fan of a treadmill. I have one, but I only bought it because of inclement weather conditions, so that way I'd still have a way to run. But doing speed work on a treadmill is absolutely not my favorite thing in the world to do at all. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But it helped me build a really nice base for speed that was in a controlled environment. And after the first 4 weeks, we transferred that speed work to actual outdoors on the road, and that really paid off. The training in itself was great. I can't say enough great things about the way Dan, Greg, and Vin showed up for me during the training. All my workouts, whether it was running or strength-based, was uploaded into an app for me every week, every day. So I knew all I had to do was log into the app and I could see what I'm doing each day, and then there was a way for me to check my workout complete, as well as leave notes or anything for these guys to see about the workout. In addition, we also had weekly check-in calls, and they were available by text whenever I needed them. So very great communication and support throughout the whole process. The training for this race went relatively smooth for the most part. Right about right up until the point about 4 weeks out, I hit this like mental block. I was out on a 10-mile long run on a Saturday in April. It was fantastic weather, beautiful weather, couldn't ask for anything better. I was on a beautiful trail, and all I could think to myself during that run was, I don't want to be out here. I don't want to do this. Like, why am I even training for this race? Like, why am I even doing this? And that was the first time where in my training for any of my races where I had a thought like that. And I stopped during my run for a minute and texted the guys and, you know, and told them how I was feeling, and Greg responded back, you know, giving me encouragement, letting me know that I'm not alone, that, you know, it's okay, that I can do this, and, you know, to just push through. And it was a struggle, but I pushed through and finished that run. And at the end of that run, I ended up seeing that I had PR'd my 10-mile time. You know, I had run my best effort in that distance ever, and even with that mental block, like, that felt really, really good to see, and just like hammered home the fact that I'm on the right path, I'm doing what I need to do, and that this feeling that I'm having, it will pass. And right about the same time, my life was getting kind of crazy. My day job, it was starting to, my workload, what I needed to be doing at my day job was increasing. I needed to be there for more hours, and just the added stress of that with the added stress of running, like, that really weighed heavy on me, and I was having a hard time like finding the balance between that, and I was really fighting an internal struggle of just like not enjoying the process. Add on to the fact that I also started experiencing some tightness in my left shin when I was running. Nothing like super sharp pain or anything like that. It was more like muscle fatigue and soreness. So that was an added factor during prep that I had to contend with and had to deal with and navigate. But again, I had Dan, Greg, and Vin with me there every step of the way, checking in on me, making sure that I'm feeling okay, physically and mentally, and continuing to work with me and adjusting my schedule and my workouts as needed, so that way I could finish this prep strong. So that is enough about the prep itself. Now let's get into the actual day of the race. Day of the race, my luck, it's rain. I knew all week, I was checking the forecast all week like a hawk, you know, like runners do, to see if the conditions would change. So I knew going into it there was a good chance of rain that day, and you know, even though I could have done it the next day, Sunday, I told myself, no, you've run your race in the rain before. That 20-mile trail race, it rained all day. So you did it once before, you can do a half marathon in the rain, no problem. So day of the race, go out to the trail and start my race off. In the morning, it was misting slightly, like barely anything coming from the sky for the first couple miles, and then after mile 2 or something, it started steady rain, and it steady rained pretty much the whole run. I think it stopped towards the end, maybe mile 11 or 12, and yeah, so the whole run I was wet, but it was 60 degrees, so it didn't feel too bad. It was humid though, so the rain didn't really help cool anything off, but that's besides the point. So rained the whole time, and around mile 6.5-ish, I encountered something that I didn't really expect. I had gone out further on the trail than I had during my training runs, and I encountered a little bit of some rolling hills. Nothing super major, super critical, but I didn't really train for hills during this race because I figured the trail I was running, every part that I've seen of it, every part that I've ran was all flat, so this whole trail was gonna be flat. Wrong. I hit a couple rolling hills that threw me for a little bit of a loop, slowed me down just a little bit, but nothing super crazy. And so go 6.5 out, or 6.55 out, and then turn around to come back in, and around mile 8 is when the physical and mental fatigue really started settling in, and I was just ready at mile 8 for this race, this run to be done and over with. I just wanted to go home. I was not hitting the paces that was programmed for me, so I was programmed specific paces for a certain finish time. For the first 3 miles, I did hit those programmed paces, but then after mile 3, the paces got faster and I couldn't hit them. So I was already behind pace, behind time, and you know, at mile 8, at that point, I didn't really care. I was more focused on finishing as strong as I could. So I kept like a maintainable pace for myself. And throughout the race, I had people checking up on me. I had Dan was checking up on me. I had a very good friend from my Fuel Hunt community check in on me throughout the race. I also checked in with another friend as well throughout the race. I get to where I'm half a mile from being done. I can't do the math. I'm not gonna do the math, but I'm half a mile from being done. And I text my Fuel Hunt friend and I asked her, I'm like, hey, you wanna FaceTime and bring this thing home with me? And she's like, hell yeah. And we hopped on a FaceTime call, and she was with me the last half mile of this half marathon, helping me and seeing me finish strong. And for that, again, I couldn't not give this special shout out because she really helped me power through that last tough part of the race. And after the race was done, we had a really nice FaceTime conversation as I was doing the cool down walk to my car. And yeah, that was the race. There's nothing super special, right? With this being a virtual run, I did this on my own. There weren't any spectators. There were barely any other people out on the trail that day because of the weather. I think I passed a couple of people who were out, but it was just me running this race for the most part by myself, other than the support that I had through friends that were checking in on me. Now, that brings to the close of the first part of this video, the race prep and the race itself. Like the title of this video says, I did PR, so I finished this half marathon, this virtual half marathon, with a time of 3 hours, 4 minutes, and like 8 seconds or something. So 3 hours, 4 minutes, and that makes a 24-minute PR from my first half marathon that I did in June of last year, so almost a year ago. that half marathon was 3 hours, 28 minutes, and some change there. So 24-minute PR for my second half marathon. That is freaking insane. I tapped into a speed that I didn't know that I was capable of. You know, I was used to just running. I never really tested and pushed my speed, didn't really know what I was capable of. And now with this training behind my belt, I know that my body is capable of so much more than what I put it through, and I could put it through some tough stuff. So I'm excited to take this foundation of speed that I have now and apply it to future running endeavors. Okay, so with that out of the way, let's talk about why I chose not to document any of this. There is no, other than a couple of Instagram reels or Instagram stories I posted of training runs, there's no, I didn't take any GoPro documentation of this prep. And the reason why I did that, or didn't do that, is I wanted to do this for myself. I wanted to tackle something big and not announce it to the whole world. There were some people that knew behind the scenes, but I never made an official announcement on Instagram or on YouTube before that I'm aware of. So if I have, then I apologize. That statement is a lie. But to the best of my knowledge, I didn't publicly broadcast that I was doing this. I wanted to do this for myself and just put my head down and do the work and truly see what I was capable of without the knowledge that other people knew what I was doing too, if that makes sense. I wanted to see if I could still do the work without the whole world cheering me on. Like, I was like really wanted to see, like, am I doing this because I want to do it, or am I doing this because this is what I'm like supposed to be doing? But that's whole, like, separate other thoughts, rabbit hole. Don't want to go down there, at least not on this video. But I'm a creator at heart, right? I'm a photographer. I make YouTube videos, so clearly I love documenting and capturing things to share with the world. I did it for my first half marathon prep, I did it for my trail race, but I'm also a firm believer that not everything has to be captured and shared. You should be able to do things, experience things, and just live in that moment, live for that moment, and not have that documented anywhere else for the world to see, but in your own mind. But yeah, that's basically why I did that. I wanted to have this preserved in my own memory for myself, just for me. And I've been having a lot of conflicting thoughts lately behind social media and everything like that, and again, I'm not gonna dive into that rabbit hole in this video, but I am extremely grateful for the opportunity to be able to do things like this, whether it be financially and honestly just from a physical standpoint. I'm grateful that God has blessed me with a body, even though I have my genetic quirk with my back and my hip, you know, being almost fused together. I'm grateful for the opportunity that God has blessed me, that I can run and that I can move and that I can compete and push my body to its limits and see what I'm truly capable of. I'm grateful for the opportunity to work with such great friends, like the guys at Infinite. They really helped me unlock a new level to my running, and it's a level that I'm excited to keep exploring. I'm also very grateful for the friends who supported me throughout this journey, for the friends who knew what I was going through, what I was tackling, what I was trying to accomplish. I'm grateful for their support. But with that being said, we're gonna wrap this thing up. I have no idea how long this is. I have no idea how much of this you can see because I decided to come outside at the brightest part of the day. Hopefully camera settings are okay and things aren't too blown out or too dark, based on how I adjusted things. But long story short, just sum up this video, I ran another half marathon and I PR'd my time. I went from a 3:28 half marathon down to a 3:04 half marathon, 24-minute PR, and I'm super grateful for the journey that it was. With that being said, I'm gonna cut the video here. Hope everyone is doing well, getting out there, crushing those goals, and I will see you in the next video.